Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome once again to another conversation surrounding mental health. I'm Lou with Tiltify, and of course, as you noticed the warning, and I always make sure that my microphone wasn't working yesterday. Now it's working. We have sound. That's fantastic. Um, Reminder that we will be talking about mental health and suicide today. So, just if that is something that is potentially concerning or triggering for you, just you've been made aware. But the whole reason of us having this conversation is, of course, in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month, but also specifically Mental Health Action Day, which we're leading up to this Thursday, and it's a call to action to act upon the awareness that we're all or so what are already so aware of, is that mental health and our mental health as just a people on this planet has suffered over this last year due to the pandemic and the sense of isolation. And so we're working with our charity partners, which includes here. We did it. See, we were just talking about this pre-show. I was like, which side do I go to? Where am I going? Going here, Rachel, with Samaritans is one of our UK-based charities that deals with mental health, depression, and suicide. But we'll let her talk about that. And also joining us is TristaBytes with the amazing catalog of classic games behind her. Lovely games that I really want to go find and collect now. But we're all going to talk about fundraising, supporting the cause, talk about some of the things surrounding mental health and the things that Samaritan does. So if you have any, we do have some commands in the chat. If you do need some resources for Samaritans, the commands are there. There's helplines that you can call kind of in conjunction of all the work that we're doing this month with our charity partners and Mental Health Action Day. So please take advantage of those. And I know our mods in chat will be sharing those details as well. But Rachel, welcome to this is like our fourth or fifth day of conversations with organizations talking about mental health. First, tell us about your role at Samaritans and what does Samaritans do?
Thanks, Lou. So I'm Rachel. I am the streaming and gaming fundraising lead at Samaritans. So I have the best job ever. I basically get to hang out and support amazing people like Trista doing some fantastic fundraising on stream, making sure they've got all the bits and pieces that they need, that they know about Samaritans, that they feel confident talking about the work we do, and that they're supported with whatever it is they're doing fundraising wise, which is really fun. And for those who don't know, Samaritans is, our vision is that fewer people die by suicide. So we're a charity based in the UK and Ireland. We've got 20,000 volunteers in 201 branches across the whole of the UK and Ireland. And what we are best known for is our non-judgmental, confidential, and completely free and anonymous listening service. So day or night, if you're in the UK and Ireland, you can phone our trained listening volunteers on 116 123, and someone will pick up the phone and be there to support you, whatever it is that you're going through. You can also email us, joe@samaritans.org, if you prefer to get support via email, maybe if the phone's not quite right for you. You can also send us a proper old school snail mail pen and paper letter if that's more your style. So those are kind of the things that we're best known for, is that listening and emotional support. But as well as that, we do all sorts of other things. So we work in our local communities, we work with schools, businesses, with festivals, with rail partners, different workplaces, and the prison service, the armed forces, frontline workers, the NHS, all sorts of people, to make sure that people are getting the emotional support that they need. And we also do campaigning work to make sure that suicide prevention is a priority. And the last thing to mention is it's currently suspended because of the pandemic restrictions, but we also offer face-to-face support in our 201 branches as well. But obviously that's kind of not really happening right now, all things considered. But yeah, that's us in a nutshell.
That's phenomenal. That is an incredible network of resources that's provided. Now, is this something that folks in the UK can access for free? Is there any sort of cost or fee associated with these?
Absolutely
transactions?
no cost whatsoever. So Samaritan services are all free. And what's really exciting is if you call us, it won't show up on your phone bill. You can call us from a mobile that doesn't have any credit, and it's entirely confidential.
Wow.
So there's really few barriers to actually accessing Samaritans at the point you need them. And the great thing with it not showing up in your phone bill, if you don't want people in your household to know that you're maybe reaching out for that support, then there's nothing there.
That degree of anonymity is usually a good first step. Do you find like what does that look like? Do you have a percentage of how many people want to remain anonymous whenever they do contact you?
I don't actually think we've got any sort of statistics on that specifically. Some people like to give a name. Some people give what we perceive are false names. Some people just prefer not to mention it at all. Some people don't even talk on the calls, and there can be silent calls. But I think that anonymity is really important to people because sometimes it's really difficult to reach out to people we know and people we love, because we fear maybe their reactions or judgment. And that's the really core of Samaritans, is we're completely non-judgmental and we are here for absolutely everyone, day and night.
That's incredible. So is there like a path towards escalation if somebody wants like to further their journey into mental health and to seeking help? What do Samaritans do to kind of help make that bridge to attaining that support?
Yeah, so we've got loads of resources on our website for people who want maybe more practical support. Obviously, our phone line is there as that core listening service for anybody who's struggling in that moment. And a lot of people come to us with all sorts of things that could be dealing with loneliness, isolation, relationships, financial worries, health worries, mental health issues that they just want to talk through with someone. But on our website as well, we offer like other more practical things in terms of mental health support. So there's lots of advice on how to support yourself, on how to support other people you might be worried about. We've got a great self-help app that we launched in 2020 that's all about helping manage your day-to-day emotional well-being. So you can like diarize your thoughts and feelings. There's the loads of sort of exercises and suggestions on things to do that might help with your mental health, your emotional well-being. And really excitingly, you can build a crisis plan in there as well. So if you are concerned that one day you might reach crisis point, you can plan ahead for that, build your crisis plan in that app so it's there ready to go when you really need it. And for sort of streamers and other content creators as well, we've also got some really great advice on how to look after yourself and your communities online, particularly. And it's all available like on our website. You can have a look. And one of the really exciting things as well, that if you are interested in supporting others, we've got some really interesting what we call our shush listening tips, which are all about helping people develop to be better listeners.
That's incredible, and it's so important. Um, that's I'm flabbergasted because when we have a different system here in the U.S. for better or for worse, and I think one of the concerns is always about accessibility to mental health and to the support and the resources that Samaritans provides. It's absolutely incredible. Um, so one of the things that we're talking about, and you mentioned it, is making things actionable. Like how do you set yourself up for success to help yourself or to help others? And one of the ways that we're always, pleased to see is when content creators and fundraisers using Tiltify say that they want to, stand up and support something that they care about, and causes on our platform, benefit from that. So Trista, you've been a fundraiser using Tiltify for a while now, and specifically, you definitely are a big supporter of Samaritans. Talk a little bit about your journey, maybe as a content creator. Like, what content do you create? Like, if people watching are wanting to know more about, what is the experience of watching TristaBytes?
Hey, I'm TristaBytes, and I do a lot of things which are basically around retro, variety, nostalgia, and a lot of nonsense as well. What I'm trying to do is provide a safe, welcoming space where people can kind of switch off a little bit from the pressures of the real world, and we just hang out. We do everything from very collaboratively playing games, which means my viewers very much get to backseat drive and then laugh when I still fall off things. The games I'm playing input a lot, and we do things like we build geeky themed Lego. We've been building Star Wars and Batman Lego together, and it's just supposed to be that experience of being in a room with a bunch of friends, but from a very long distance, and just chatting about a lot of things that give us a little bit of an escape. 80s and 90s cartoons, retro games, TV shows, and things like that, because I find being able to switch off and have a space where you can just kind of just sort of like let loose a little bit and enjoy yourself with very familiar things can be just incredibly comforting in a world that can be extremely high stress. I went full-time at March 2020, strangely enough. I'd been streaming for a while before that, but I've been doing it part-time because I also do on stage events and things, and I went full-time for obvious reasons because of COVID and things in 2020. And I started doing a lot of daytime streaming as well then, not just evenings, because I wanted to be that radio one in the background when people were working from home or people who were stuck on furlough. And we just hang out, build some Lego and chat. And it helped me, and it seems like it really helped a bunch of people as well. And it also meant that I could develop a platform that was big enough that I could start doing a lot of the fundraising things that I wanted to do as well.
It's phenomenal. So when did you start fundraising for Samaritans?
It's we did about £6,000 in the first year of doing it, so
Wow.
that's 2020. I think that was about just over 6,000, and it became, because Samaritans means a lot to me personally, it became one of the primary charities that I was working with. So I've got a few that are very close to my heart, and Samaritans is one of those. So I started doing longer charity events for that. I did one that was a month long where we were doing things for Samaritans, and if we hit certain goals, I'd stream wearing ridiculous onesie outfits and things that are very not goth. And I also did one at Christmas where I carried all my computer equipment into the kitchen, and people got to laugh at me attempting to make Christmas dinner whilst also being entertaining. And the Christmas one was, people were amazing. It was £2,000 for Samaritans. I streamed for about 10 hours, 11 hours on Christmas Day. And that was really wonderful because I was alone for Christmas. And I did this thinking I was doing it for other people, for charity, for viewers that were on their own. And by the end of it, people were saying, oh, we've waited to eat our Christmas dinner till yours was on the table. And I was like, this is actually, you're trying not to get a little bit emotional, because it just hadn't occurred to me that how much it was going to help me as well. So yeah, I've done fundraising on and off for a long time, but the going full time really allowed me to ramp it up and do much bigger things.
Well, I think one of the things that I always like to identify whenever we talk to content creators using Tiltify is there is something about curating a community that is open to like a charitable cause. It sounds like you've done an amazing job at that already. What are some of the things that you do to ensure that sense of connection and giving with your community when it comes to these fundraising asks?
I think it's partly just that Samaritans is an incredible cause, and as soon as I mentioned I wanted to be more involved with working closer with Samaritans and doing much bigger fundraisers for Samaritans, a lot of people they knew who they were, and it meant a lot to them. The amount of people who became quite open about saying, yeah, Samaritans are the reason I'm here, or a friend of mine is here, or a family member of mine is here. And it was a cause that didn't just resonate with me personally, but it did also something that really, really helped a lot of my community already. So it really wasn't that difficult to kind of get that across and get people on board with that idea, because just because of the nature of the community and like attracts like and things, a lot of people already very much resonated with this cause in particular.
Right. So you had the benefit of already working with Samaritans. So you had the resources to share with your community as these conversations came up. Did you use those? How did you deliver those? Or if you did, did you use your Discord, or did you have open conversations on your stream? What was your approach to discussing, a sensitive nature, around suicide is difficult. Or if you did have those conversations with your community.
Yeah, we did have some conversations and things, but we keep it slightly more on the lighter side with a lot of the streams that I was doing, and it became more of an environment that if people wanted to share, they felt very welcome to do so. And obviously, the space that I am curating effectively, I make sure that is completely safe for people to do so. And it was more just that a lot of people being willing to share when they were struggling and how much Samaritans had helped. So there was a lot of positivity coming out of what is a very dark subject, a very difficult subject. So it was just lovely to see how many people were willing to kind of say, these people have helped me and how they've helped. And I think putting out the positive results of what they do helps anyone else who doesn't feel able to speak or is in a dark place to know that they can use that resource and how helpful it is. So that tends to be the approach that I was taking, rather than delving very heavily into the specifics, especially with some of my own experiences, and because I have lost people, sadly, and kind of going into those details. We just tended to gravitate a bit more towards celebrating where we have found great help and comfort in it, and making it just a more welcoming place to talk about those things in general.
Yeah, you talk about loss, and in regards to losing someone to suicide, and that's a part of something that I don't think we talk about maybe enough, is the support that people who do have a loss need. What are some of the resources that Samaritans has for individuals who may be suffering from loss? Rachel.
It's just the fact that it's anytime, day or night, you can phone up and there is an ear there that is willing to listen.
Okay.
Regardless, that is not gonna judge, that is not gonna tell you what to do necessarily, because a lot of the time you don't need telling what to do, you don't need advice. People will forever be telling you to get over something, or the steps you need to do, but sometimes all you need to do is talk and just say those words you're afraid to say, and just not have any fear of anything coming back at you. It's a really liberating experience to be able to just talk freely, knowing that information can never be, people will be worried it may be used against them, or worried they're going to worry their friends, the opposite end of the spectrum, worried that their friends are going to panic and overreact the other way. If you are perhaps not living in a safe environment, and what you want to talk about is that the people around you are causing your mental health, your physical health to be in danger, you need to be able to talk to someone where you feel safe that it cannot get back to those people. It's all of these things that you can go to them for. It's not just if you yourself are experiencing one thing in particular. It's for any stress. It's for any situation that is causing you to need to reach out. Because if it's like 3 a.m, even if you have luckily a very good support network of family and friends, but if you need to phone somebody every night at 2 or 3 a.m. to talk for an hour because you just need that in order to get through that evening, you don't feel like you can keep phoning up your best friend or your parent or something. And knowing there's a service that lets you do that, where it just takes away that ability for you to talk yourself out of seeking help and feeling like a burden, because there's a service there deliberately that exists just to help people that are in your situation. I think it just makes it so much easier for people to reach out and for people to talk things through, because saying the words out loud is enormously important to moving forward and coping and seeking help and going through those emotions, rather than bottling things up and going the other way.
Well, it removes a barrier of that's incredible. Rachel, you were going to speak. I apologize.
That's right. I was just saying, like, just completely right. Like our listening service is there for people who've been bereaved by suicide, as well as anything else they might be going through. But also, just to add to that, we also host the Support After Suicide partnership, which is specifically for people who've been bereaved by suicide. It's specialist resources for people who have lost a loved one to suicide, to reach out. So you can find out, again, more about that on our website and stuff as well, which has got some really helpful advice and signposting to different services that are out there specifically for that.
So you raised about, you said about £6,000. You said, was that right, Trista?
Yeah, that was about right for last year, and that's something like 1,200. I think it's over 1,200 phone calls. That is.
You're getting at what I was asking. What is the impact of that fundraising? What does £6,000 do for Samaritans?
I think that's about. I think Rachel will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's about 1,200 phone calls answered. So that's the amount of people that got to speak to somebody because of the community around me and their incredible generosity. That's the amount of people that were, in a state where they needed to speak to somebody at, any time of day or night, who were able to, more than if we hadn't done that. And that's something that is absolutely incredible. And I was incredibly moved by, the fact that we hit those numbers, and that people were so willing to be so supportive of others. And it was partly because a lot of people in my community, they have been in these places themselves. People were donating and saying, I've used this service and this is an opportunity to give back. I've phoned Samaritans in the past in places in my life when I needed to, and this was my way of trying to raise more awareness for what they do and to get those conversations going and to give back. I didn't expect it was going to be that much just in the first year of fundraising, but yeah, it's incredible to think like that many phone calls were answered, that many people were helped, and that's just the beginning. We're going to keep doing more.
So to break Trista's numbers down, it's about £5 to answer a phone call that could potentially be life-changing. And there's other ways, like the donations make an impact as well. So it's £96 a year for the ongoing training of an existing volunteer. So we keep training our volunteers year after year to make sure they're looking after themselves and they can look after other people and that they're keeping their skills fresh. £200 a year can help train a new volunteer because we always need more people. We're 24/7, 365 days a year. So we always need more volunteers. So again, that helps with that kind of training. And it's £12,000 to keep our phone line open for a whole day. So Trista's community last year kept our phone lines open for half a day, all by themselves, which is really impressive. That can just give some of the other context, as well as obviously supporting all the other services that I mentioned earlier. There's loads of ways donations can help with pretty much any of our services that we offer.
When you can draw that line between the fundraising and the donation is and the impact that it has is absolutely powerful. And I think that there's one of the things we love to see is like when our charity partners provide these impact statements to the fundraisers, it's all we see is just success, because it really makes it easy to see how we truly can affect each other when it comes to supporting and fundraising. Now, you kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, Trista, about some of the things that you may have incentivized your community to do. Did you make use of like rewards and polls and that sort of thing in order for your community to interact and feel like they're a part of the broadcast?
Yeah, and a lot of the time I think I give them far too much control in deciding what those things are going to be. They kind of demand things. So yeah, one of the first ones that we did was it was supposed to be something like £200 or £300. It went to £500. It went to £1,000. It went to and I was kind of like, well, what do you want if we get to £2,000 then? And they went, well.
Well,
it's just one of those things, and then you spend your time sort of going like, and now I am wearing a multicolored unicorn onesie whilst painting my face to look like a pink cat and being made to play Echo the Dolphin, which is a game I have been very, very vehement about detesting. And I think I gave far too much control, and I may need to learn my lesson there. But it normally is making me look as foolish as possible. Seems to be the one. In terms of things, I also make the anything else you could do to make things fun. So my donation alerts, because obviously Tiltify allows you to set up custom graphics and sound alerts. Mine are always inverted commas hilarious, and I let the viewers kind of have a bit of a say onto what those are. So if I'm playing a horror game, it's terrifying jump scares that make me literally fall out of my seat. And we had other streams where we use the sound effects from Sonic the Hedgehog and things that are very anxiety inducing. And it's definitely been a thing. But anything that makes it fun, anything that gives the community an opportunity to club together, make the streamer look as daft as humanly possible, I tend to find is a good way. I've also played a lot of computer games dressed as Sonic the Hedgehog. So got a delightful hat. Also, these gloves.
You gotta have the gloves.
Games. Yeah, they're really good with an Xbox controller. They are. And it's just silly things like that, especially I think when you're fundraising for things that you are talking about helping people who may be getting to a point in their lives where they are actually considering taking drastic actions and they are at danger of losing their life to suicide and things. It's a very heavy topic, and I find making myself look as silly as possible helps to make those conversations a little bit less daunting and allows people to dip in and out as best they feel, because some people those conversations are too much for them, and for their own mental health they want to stay away from some of that side of it. So by making it a fun way to raise money as well, I think that helps just make it a little bit more inclusive to everybody to join in, because even if they want to mute the more serious bits of the stream, they can still laugh at me looking like an absolute muppet.
I love it. No, and that's, I think I'm writing that down as, make me look like a Muppet should be a reward tier. Definitely. I love that. So do you have any fundraising activity going on currently, or anything coming up that we should know about?
We have some in the works, but I don't think we're allowed to quite reveal the information yet. But watch this space, because we've got some big things planned. We're not going to slow down. We are gonna ramp things up with regards to raising money for Samaritans, because it's a cause that means so much to me, and as shown by the generosity of my community, means so much to them and makes a difference to so many people's lives that I'm going to keep doing everything I can.
That's phenomenal. Rachel, what are the next steps for Samaritans? How can creators connect with you? This is your job. Like we were talking about how silly our jobs are that we get to do this. We have amazing jobs, but how can a content creator kind of level up their experience, kind of like Trista has, to support Samaritans?
Sure. Well, on a fundamental level, whether you want to support us with fundraising or not, definitely check out our website for the advice on looking after yourself and your communities. Ultimately, at the heart of everything we do, we want people to be looking after themselves and their welfare and their well-being. So we say that to all of our fundraisers, like, you looking after yourself and your communities is the top priority. And then obviously we'd love for people to get involved and do some fundraising, do some weird and wacky things like Trista's been up to. So you can reach out to us on social media. Obviously, we're at Samaritans on Twitter. I think at Samaritans Charity on Instagram. So you can find us on all your standard social media channels. We've got our Discord server as well. People can sort of find links for that, usually dotted about in our Twitter sphere. I can't quite remember the URL off the top of my head, I must admit. It's failing. I need to remember that one for next time. And also you can email streaming@samaritans.org. We'll get you through to me. I'm always happy to chat to people, so people can ask me any questions about Samaritans, about the resources we've got for looking after themselves and their communities. I love to talk about Samaritans and what we do, as Trista will attest to. A lot of long Discord calls, just having a good natter. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm always up to help people level up.
Absolutely, no, I love it. And somebody just shared one of the links here. Hold on one second. I just noticed. Of course, Nightbot totally bungled the link. Hold on one moment. While I fix that for us really quick. But one of the things that we're talking about this month is doing something. So if you're in a place where you're wanting to fundraise, guess what? We've identified a day this very week where you could actually fundraise, May 20th. And if you do visit this link once I fix it, hold on one second. Nobody share it. Mods don't share it right now. You can head over to your Tiltify page and set up. And I think that Trista probably would hopefully to attest that it's pretty straightforward to set up, even if you're a novice, to just get things started. You get a donation link. Really, at the end of the day, that's all you need to share with friends and family. So Trista and Rachel, you're both experts on fundraising. I've dubbed you experts. If you didn't know that already, you're welcome. You're experts now.
Thank you.
What are some of your top, one or two tips that you give to somebody maybe just starting out fundraising?
Oh, well, if we're going for the kind of streaming type approach, then I would definitely say just make the alerts fun and make a lot of goals for people to achieve. Do anything you can to kind of make it as interactive as possible. And it sounds ridiculous, but I've given this advice in my official capacity as an advisor to a couple of charities as a streamer. My official advice is that you will get a lot more donations if the sound effect per donation is a fart noise than if your sound effect is a nice jingle. It's ridiculous, but it is absolutely true. If you make the sound effect something ridiculous, you will get a lot of people wanting to interact and enjoying that. And just that's literally professional advice right there. Use preposterous sound effects, make it fun. Think about what makes it enjoyable for the viewers. Do you stick another sticker onto your face? Do you put something on a whiteboard? Whatever it is that lets people feel that they have had a fun interaction with you whilst raising that money. Even if you are fundraising for very serious causes, and you're going to do more good if you just allow everyone to have fun with it.
So we're making a note internally to add. It's so funny. I just accidentally blocked one of our colleagues in chat from saying fart. I'm sorry, Dulcie. I did not mean to block the word fart. I'll fix that afterward. I meant to approve fart. I'm like, we're a pro fart stream. So if you didn't know that already.
I like the fact I managed to lower the tone on this. I'm very proud of myself right now.
No.
As one of the charities advised by Trista, it does seem to be working. People seem to what do we say? But,
how do you follow that, Rachel? How do you follow?
I'm just going to go down a bit more of a boring route, to be honest. It's a really, really key one, which is just remember to include your donation link.
Oh my gosh!
When you've got a fundraising page, make sure when you're tweeting about what you're doing, it's in there, because you never know when somebody's going to click it and go, today's the day I make that donation. So even if it's just hey, I'm going to be doing this thing at some point in the future, if you've got that donation page set up, make sure the link is there.
Yes.
Keep mentioning it in chat, get it set up with your notifications, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, whatever. Just make sure it's all always there, and you're mentioning it regularly, because you like, people come in and out of streams, they dip in and out of social media. You never know when that moment is where somebody's going to go, yeah, I'm going to get my wallet out and I'm going to make that donation today. And the other thing I say is, if you are using Tiltify, like, use all the tools, like incentives, rewards, polls, like, they do really work. People absolutely love them. And if you're not maybe up for doing the silly, like, out there things that Trista is, put something really simple in. Like, a really nice one that we've seen sort of cropping up from some of our fundraisers is like a welfare check, or a water check. So maybe for a couple of pounds, people can donate to make sure you do like a check-in of how everybody's doing in chat, and you do a shout out and how content creator is, or remember to drink your water. So your community can rally around you in a really, like, nice and helpful way, as well as making you suffer indignities.
Yeah, it's whatever resonates with your community. Like, for me, I have a lot of food allergies and things, so I see a lot of streamers doing the eat the chilies and these kind of rewards and things for their charity streams, and I can't do any of those, but I can wear a silly pair of bunny rabbit ears or a Sonic the Hedgehog hat or some silly gloves. So that's what I do. But I do often put those things to polls where I say, vote in chat, what do I do next, which is how I ended up with the unicorn onesie and the face paint and things. And it's just finding those things that you're comfortable with, that your community will resonate with as well. And I think I'm going to add as well, with the sharing of the links and the making the alerts fun, I think it's also important to make sure people know that they can donate anonymously, because that, I think, helps people as well if they don't want to be, sort of have their name said in reference to this, if they don't want other people to know they're donating, especially because I've seen people donate like £100 at a time and things, and they'll do it anonymously and they'll say, Samaritans are the reason I'm here, but they don't want to do that publicly. And I think, as with Samaritans calls all being anonymous and safe and secure, I think it's important to explain to people, you can donate anonymously. You don't have to put your name on it. You're welcome to, but you don't have to. It's all within what's your comfort zone.
Yeah, that's excellent advice. The anonymity totally lines up. That makes so much sense. And then every time I see one of our wonderful community members tweet without a donation link, Rachel, you have to know that I'm just up the wall. I'm like, no, how? I can't find you. I have to work harder to find you, and I should be able to find you very easily. And that's great advice. So shifting gears just a little bit, we've all been in some degree of solitude, or feeling maybe feeling isolated, and with that comes with, like, what is that self-health, what is that wellness thing you do for yourself to help you maintain a positive mental health status? What does that look like for you? What is the things that Trista does? What is the thing that Rachel do that maybe you can share with the viewers so they can incorporate that or consider something that they can do?
Do you want to start, Trista?
Yeah, sure. For me, it's generally quite simple things. I am very much a go for a walk in the park kind of person. I find that a walk outside, even if it's pouring with rain and I've got my Wellington boots and my umbrella, because this is the British summer, so of course it's hailstoning at the moment, and that I find is a very good reset, to have some fresh air and things, some rain as well sometimes, to kind of give me a bit of a reset. The other thing that I've done this for a while, to be fair, but I've done this more over the last year with lockdown, is that I sometimes spend a day with a friend on speakerphone.
Just having the phone on just throughout the day?
Yeah, I've got a couple of friends of mine who also work from home. Some of them are also single parents working from home with multiple kids in the house, and we'll just have speakerphone on, and sometimes it'll be muted, and we'll just spend a kind of day together, and they'll be doing the washing up or doing something and walking around, and we'll just natter as you would if you were just round somebody's house all day. No particular agenda, no particular thing we're talking about, just having somebody to kind of natter at while you're both also working and stuff, I found that to be a really nice way to feel a bit more connected, but not having to be on a Zoom call or do it playing a game or doing anything in particular. I love doing all of those things too, but when I turn those things off, you sometimes have that sudden kind of like, oh, now I'm on my own again, and I'm reminded that I haven't actually seen another human being in a year. And I just found that, yeah, walking around with a phone on speakerphone whilst doing normal tasks while someone else is doing the same thing, it's just a really good kind of way to chill out, as if you just popped around somebody's house.
No, I love that. That's a great idea. And you're right. There's something about like being on Zoom calls all day, or video conferencing, whatever it may be, and it going off. There is some sort of like letdown. I hadn't even identified that. So that's really, really interesting. It's probably why I am over Zoom calls. I'm so sorry that I pulled you into one today.
It's that thing of being able to do something else at the same time, which I found really helpful. And it just like, you're doing the housework, you're doing stuff, and you're like, oh, nobody's going to see I've tidied the house. Why am I bothering? And it's like, well, if I can potter around whilst chatting to a mate, and occasionally like my friend's kid will steal the phone and explain to me like at least 100 different Pokemon for 40 minutes while she's doing something else. And, it's just that little way of having a bit more of a connection, but also still wandering around and occasionally being able to just mute the button when you're on the 50th Pokemon and just going, that sounds great. That's Pikachu, amazing. I know that one.
Absolutely. Rachel, how about you? What are some of your tactics that's kept you feeling healthy, or at least setting a path towards happy mental health?
So building on what you said, it's that obviously Samaritans were really about human connection, and I found like myself making a real effort with that over the past year to just pick up the phone and call some people and just have a chat about whatever's going on. Not a lot going on generally, but it's still just quite nice. Not be on a Zoom call, to be able to go for a walk. That's quite often what I do is I pick up my phone, go for a walk, call a friend, call my mum, call anyone that will answer me generally, and just have a natter and get out and about and be moving. And then the other thing for me personally is pre-pandemic, I used to do a lot of dancing, a lot of dance classes, and obviously it's not really a thing we're allowed to do now. So I've been trying to incorporate things I love that I maybe can't do the way I'm used to into my sort of day-to-day life. So I start taking dance breaks now, where I'll just put on something that I love and spend 3 minutes like dancing around my spare room, make sure that Zoom's no longer on to catch me.
Oh. So we're not going to get a display where you're not going to show us.
No demonstrations.
Okay.
But just having that like 3 minutes every now and then, just to myself, to do something that I really love, that's just entirely for me, and to take that bit of time out, particularly because I think a lot of people, one of the really great things about this past year and everything we've been through is we've all been really united in actually looking after each other, and we've just got to make that time to remember to look after ourselves. So whether you love painting or dancing or gaming, reading a book, jogging, whatever it is, just taking like that little bit of time just for yourself and whatever it is that makes you happy, and knowing that it's okay to do that, to just like switch off from everything else and just do something for yourself for a little bit is one of my top recommendations.
Absolutely. No, that's phenomenal. So if anybody is watching and they have any questions for Rachel at Samaritans or Trista, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Because we're going to talk a little bit about all of the amazing toys and games behind Trista here right now. Before we hopped on, I just saw the Transformers. What Transformer is up behind you? That looks like a classic Transformer. Who is that?
There's two G1 Transformers on the backdrop. There is Hunger, who is like a two-headed dinosaur dragony thing, and there is also Mindwipe, who is the bat who can control other people's circuits. I basically only really like Decepticons and Sith, and there's a theme.
I love it. No, fantastic. And we were chatting about classic video games. You do retro games. Where I was reminiscing over the Jaguar, the Atari Jaguar that you have just behind you. Not many people remember this console.
I
because
bought it new.
You bought it brand new, right? Oh my!
That's the one I bought new. Everything behind me is the stuff I bought. Most of it is stuff that I had since childhood, because I was the kid that kept the boxes because they were expensive, precious things. So I've got the boxes, the original plastic bags that the controllers came in are in there, like, you know, the little warranty card for that Mega Drive's in there, where I filled it in and wrote, yes, definitely, this is the thing I went in the shop for, and then I couldn't bear to post it because it was a piece of Sega paper that came in. That I was very much that kid. So it's people say I have a collection, but it's more like I have a lot of similarly themed things neatly arranged on shelves that seem to grow over time, rather than being a collector, in my opinion.
What was the game that like got you hooked into enjoying gaming as a hobby, or even now a lifestyle?
I don't know the name of the first ever game I played, which is very frustrating, but it was on a cassette, and it was something with either BMX or little motorbikes.
Okay.
And I remember you put the little cassette in. It was probably a copied one, just with pen on it. And, the cassette did all its noises, and then there were pixels on the screen and you could move them. And I was like, we can control what's in the telly. Yeah. And this was just, my little mind was blown, and I was hooked from that point. I grew up on a council estate, and there was a lot of single parent families and people that were there because of not necessarily the best situations. And between us, like, every household had like one console. So we all went and played games with each other. And anytime somebody needed to go to work or to do something, another family, the kids would go next door and hang out with them for a few hours. And this was just how things worked. But it meant that we all got to play a little bit of every console, basically, for years, because everybody had some console different to somebody else. And I think that's why I've always kind of seen gaming as this, you sit together and you take turns on the sofa. When you die, you pass the pad to the next person. They have a go at the level, and we played very collaboratively, and it was a thing that we could all do, especially during winter or where we were stuck in and things, which brought us all together and put us all on a level playing field when we were all different ages. And we couldn't really go on holidays and do some of the things the other kids were necessarily doing. So we had these little escapism worlds that we all shared with each other, and that just always stayed part of my life.
I love that. That is phenomenal. I just love community gaming, and that reminded me of like my friends and my cousins, and just like really like one household had the Atari, one household had the Intellivision, and then when somebody got a Nintendo, oh my goodness, that was amazing.
They were then the popular house.
Right, yeah. Nobody wanted to play Atari after the Nintendo came out, and the poor thing. I would love to get that back. I don't know whatever happened to it. We do have a question for Rachel. This is from Dulcie. We all know Dulcie. Well, Rachel and I know Dulcie. Is there anything Rachel would like to see someone do to raise money that hasn't been done yet? Do you have a bucket list that you're like, check, they did that?
Oh, I don't think I do, because honestly, I'm not as creative as all other people. Like, I've seen some weird and wonderful things. We had a great one last week. RT Game basically spent 2.5 hours in his bathtub.
It's wonderful.
Which, I couldn't come up with that. So I don't really have a bucket list as such, because every time somebody comes to me with a new idea, I'm like, that's amazing. It's ridiculous and I love it. So just the weirder and the more fun, the better. That's what I really want from people, is them to come to me going, I want to do this like daft thing, as long as it's safe and you're looking after yourself. That's all I ask.
And you don't break the terms of service for Tiltify or for Twitch.
Yeah. Don't break any terms of service. Don't break yourselves or the internet. And it's all good. But I don't think I can be creative enough to even come up with a bucket list. I just like to hear what amazing ideas other people come up with.
Well, maybe
Yeah,
maybe
and I
something
think
that
communities give you a lot more ideas
they
than you're
feel
ever
it.
going to have yourself. A lot of my stuff has come from the community. I mean, I know that it was their idea that I cook Christmas dinner because I wanted to stream Christmas Day, and they said cook Christmas dinner, and I was like, I'll never do that. And then all the computer equipment was in the kitchen, so obviously I did. And they collectively, the hive mind, they will give you lots of ideas. So listening to your community and things will give you loads of ideas. They're suggesting to me, because I found an old painting of mine that I painted of Sailor Moon years ago, and I raffled that off as part of a fundraiser last year, because I was like, I've literally, this is shoved down my sofa because I don't think I'm very good. And then they were like, oh no, seriously, we want that painting. And I was like, well, do you want it as part of the charity thing? So they were like, yes. So I did a raffle as one of the activities where people could donate money to get a ticket to get a painting. And off the back of that, some people have said, so you're going to do a Bob Ross theme stream? We're going to see you paint? And I'm like, what, should I get like a fake beard and a thing? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, oh no, have I just could I get out of this now?
No.
So that's my answer. I want a Bob Ross stream. If I say it has to happen now, right?
That was a long
path.
How
these things happen. It's a very organic process. It's like, there's an idea and then there's no escape. That's generally how it happens.
I love it. No, we can't wait to see it.
That's it. And the communities do come up with the best ideas, because they're all bouncing off each other. They're bouncing off content creators. And then what I really love is that I then sweep in and they tell me what weird, wonderful thing they want to get up to. And I'm like, oh, have you thought about doing this while you do that? Or, oh, you could maybe like put that to a poll. And I just get to make it that bit more exciting and unusual and difficult in a fun way. And just push that a little bit further and help people like bounce their ideas around. But so yeah,
I think it's just make a list of things that you definitely don't want to do. Like for me, because of my food allergies, food challenges kind of can't be on there. But then let people suggest loads of other things. Pick a few that you are happy to do, even if they're a tiny bit like out of your comfort zone. Like I'd never done full face paint before. So for me, that was like quite nerve-wracking, but it turned out to be very fun. I turned into a pink cat by the end of that stream. And just pick a few, put things to votes, get people involved. People will often tell you what they think will be the most fun thing to do. And just don't be worried about making a fool of yourself, because that's basically the best outcome you can hope for.
I love it. Well, this has been an absolute delight. I've enjoyed our time together. We'll kind of wrap things up, but really, if there is something that somebody's watching, if you're UK based and you need to talk to somebody, then Samaritans is there for you. If you are anywhere in the world and you want to support what they're doing for Samaritans, guess what? You can do that through Tiltify, through setting up a fundraising campaign. And of course, you can see the shenanigans that happen live on stream by watching TristaBytes and any other number of fundraisers supporting Samaritans by tuning in on. What's their schedule look like, Trista? When do you typically stream? Is it every day at this point?
I stream full time, but I stream some twice on some days, so I can do daytime and evenings. So at the moment, I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but some of those have multiple streams. I tend to stream in 4-hour blocks with a break, even if I'm streaming twice a day. But yeah, if people want to come and hang out, they are very much welcome to.
Fantastic. And Rachel, any other final thoughts for folks who may be watching or listening?
That really, that Samaritans is always there for anyone who's struggling, who just needs someone to reach out. And if you aren't in the UK and Ireland, do check out our website anyway. We've got lots of signposting to other services. We really recommend befrienders.org if you're looking for services in your local area. They've got a great international list where you can find your local listening services wherever you might be in the world. And yeah, if anyone fancies doing some weird and some wonderful fundraising, do come check us out on Tiltify, and we'd love to have you as part of Team Samaritans.
Wonderful. Perfect. A great way to cap things off. Everybody, thank you for stopping in and watching. Of course, we'll have this video on our YouTube and on our Twitch So do come back and watch it if you missed it. We may have had folks who missed this. Great conversation, and can't wait to have more of these conversations moving forward. Rachel, Trista, please have a wonderful, wonderful evening for you, I believe. It's moving into the evening for you. And we appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Lou. Bye.